Hey all, welcome to the CIOPCC and this week's favorite collection. We're going to do another section this week. Last week I had mentioned when I was doing the blue section that I already done the green section, and some people pointed out, well, if you did, where is it? And I realized I had been thinking about doing the green section, but hadn't actually done the green section. So we'll get ourselves all straightened out here and get the green section done today. I'm walking the long way around because I just wanted to chit-chat for a second. The green section was one of the very first sections I did. Actually, it was the second section I built out here. It consists of two large towers in front, plus the green wall, which is about got about a 10-foot shelf. And it is mostly, since it's green, it's outdoorsy, it's adventure, it is mostly Lord of the Rings, Indiana Jones, and Harry Potter. But you'll see some other things as we go along. That artwork up there on the top next to the Simpsons, that came with something. I don't know what, but I thought it was cool. Now, these are the Asmus figures. Asmus is the first and only company in 6 scale to give us a complete fellowship. It's a huge big deal. Now, the two Aragorns you see in back, they suck. Every Aragorn ever made has sucked. Their costumes are actually quite nice, and their display bases are very nice. But I have the in-art Aragorn on pre-order. Hopefully finally have a great one. The Bilbo, the old Bilbo in front, you're going to see a second old Bilbo. I don't do that very often, but I wanted to have both head sculpts. Gandalf the White, that was one of the very first Asmus figures, and he's terrible. So, excellent example of when they would strike out. Other figures, however, are fantastic. That Twilight Witch King there, for example, is fantastic. The Morgul Lord and the Nazgul are fantastic. On this shelf, we have some more, including Smeagol. You'll see Gollum in a minute. That's another one where I have both figures. Grishnak there is another great figure being speared. I love Saruman. This is an underappreciated line. It's actually very good. That Gandalf the Grey was their first gray version, and he's pretty bad. They were just experimenting with rooted hair at the time. Here is their much better version that they did later. He is not as good as the in-art, but I find that he is plenty good enough for me. And they improved even further with this version here, the white. Amazing job they did on him. He makes it possible that I don't really need to spend $500 on an in-art version. There's that other Bilbo with the other head and the Gollum version of the Smeagol Gollum. And now we're getting into some other adventure stuff. Big Trouble in Little China. Here's another figure I had to buy more than one of. The QMX Dread Pirate Roberts. I wanted to be able to display both head sculpts. And then we got the Realm of the Rodent down here at the end. Next shelf down, we got some mini busts. These are the new Indiana Jones versions from Gentle Giant. Now, I've mentioned before that when you have this 8-inch shelf and it's 16 inches tall, these are the Diamond Select figures for Lord of the Rings. I never really did the Toy Biz figures, so I've been picking these up. They only come out once in a blue moon, so it's pretty easy. I've mentioned that you can split these into two 4-inch shelves by putting a riser in back, and it works terrific. There we have some more Princess Bride, this time from McFarlane. And we finish off down here with some more Indiana Jones and Pan's Labyrinth Gentle Giant busts. In front of that, we have more Gentle Giant busts, only this time it's the full, complete set of the Lord of the Rings busts they did. I'm a big fan of the Gentle Giant work. It wasn't always, again, it's not always perfect. It has its issues. Human portraits were particularly complicated and difficult, and when you're working in polystone, skin textures and hair can be difficult to do really, really well, but I think they did a nice job with it. And that's the full set. This one down here at the end is usually the hardest to get. That was the exclusive. On the next row down, we have more Gentle Giant busts, this time Harry Potter. Again, I'm complete on this series. However, there is one that I'm going to get replaced eventually. Maybe when I hit the lottery. I haven't replaced it because it's not absolutely necessary. If I didn't point out that there's an issue, you would know. But I know there's an issue, and all you collectors know that when you know there's an issue, it just bugs the hell out of you. So eventually I'm going to replace one. I'll show you which one it is. The thing is, like I said, the green section was the second section I was working on. This building was full of boxes, and you had to unbox things and get rid of the boxes into storage if you were going to be able to continue working, which meant that you had stuff out here that could get broken while you were working on building towers, etc. And what happened is I happened to knock one off, the Voldemort here. Of course, it wouldn't have been one that was super cheap and easy to replace, no. One of the most expensive ones I knocked off, and you can see the ear and his collar has a chip in it. So someday I'm going to eventually replace that one. But on the list of things I want to get for the Institute, it's not super high. So that's a complete set of the Gentle Giant mini busts. Down here we have the Hasbro Indiana Jones 12-inch figures. First one's from the park. The rest of these are from when Hasbro did their series for the third movie. In front there you'll see some Star Ace 8-inch figures. I'm going to be getting rid of those probably. I've kept them just because I had the space. But that's the kind of thing that'll be boxed up and sold when I need space for something else. The Gollum there, that's the top half of the quarter scale premium format statue from Sideshow. They did that so you could actually show this either head sculpt on display as sort of a mini bust.
That's why they call it the jungle, sweetheart.
One of my favorite Goofy figures. Sure, it doesn't look anything like Indy, but it talks and moves his mouth. I did keep those couple of Metacoms back there. I'm not a big Metacom fan. They're out of scale with everything else. But I did pick those up and keep them around. And they're really a couple of the better ones, I think. These Toy Biz in front 12-inch figures are a great example of when I said before I like some history. So you can see there how bad that Gandalf or that Aragorn, you know, we'll be able to have Aragorn on the shelf. I have the Sideshow Aragorn, I have the Asmus Aragorn, and then I will eventually have the in-art Aragorn. So you'll be able to see the change through time. Down here at the bottom we have a Firefly poster, along with the premium format Morgul Lord from Sideshow. I don't think I mentioned it up at the top. I don't know if I mentioned it. There's a nice Memorial Day poster from when they did that film done by Drew Struzan. And down here at the bottom, on the list of if I need the space I can get rid of, are all these Sideshow still boxed 12-inch figures, along with the ACI and one of the Asmus. Alright, so that's the wall. You still with me? Let's swing around here and look at one of the two towers. See what I did there? Two towers, Lord of the Rings. So up here at the top, we have some of the NECA quarter scale. There's 3 of them. And that is the premium format statue I was talking about from Sideshow. That's the Gollum top half. So we come around the side over here. Harry Potter. I threw that Sideshow Indiana Jones on the horse up there just because I wanted to display the horse, and I thought, you know, of all the characters to do that with. Sort of the same way with the cave diorama. I have Lara Croft descending into the cave. Over on this side, we have a couple of games, some Collectibkes statues. Fertility Idol, that's the one Diamond selected. That is the cheaper one, but it's nice. And a few more indies, including the premium format from Sideshow. If you've seen the premium format video, favorite collection, you know that in the house I have the other one with the hat on. In back there we have the Indiana Jones Mini-Mates, or Mighty Mugs, Mini-Mates. Mighty Mugs, that's full set. Here in the shelf in front of it we have a lot of 112 Indiana Jones. These are all the Hasbro that we recently got. Full set. And it's kind of a bummer because I got some room here, but the line's done. I'm hoping I've got a couple of things that I can put there. Around this side, we have a complete collection of the fun Adventure Heroes from Hasbro. A few of them loose in front and then all of them carded. And then over on this side, we get into, after some Indiana Jones, we get into some NECA Harry Potter. And there's a ton of it here. Some of it's boxed, some of it's carded. I don't know if I'm complete on this collection. Never really sat down and tried to check it all out, but I have a lot of it. Finally, we come back around to this side. That's a record of mine from the old Adventures of G.I. Joe. And that's the boxed set of the 4-inch Indiana Jones from Hasbro. You'll remember that, or you will see in a minute the rest of that line, but that is the hardest thing. That was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive for that series. Down here we have first the Hot Toys Indiana Jones, mixed and matched with the Sideshow diorama. I had this motorcycle with the sidecar for years, boxed out, waiting to when I could use it with Indiana's dad. Those are the Sideshow versions. And as we come around here, we get into Star Ace Harry Potter. And I know there's a lot of people who hate this line and complain about this line. And you know what? I think it's a great underappreciated line. They did some nice work. There's a couple of Hot Toys figures mixed in. The Dumbledores are fantastic. The Hermiones are excellent. Voldemort is excellent. I mean, some of these are, you know, when they got into the teen kids, you'll see that they're pretty weak. But most of the adults are actually pretty good. Now there's Old Man Indy with his refrigerator. We get into a few more Indiana Jones figures as we come back around this side. From Sideshow. The young Indy there, that's a Metacom. Both versions of the Ark, one Sideshow did, the other one was a Hasbro release. And we've got some cool 1/6 scale replicas. This is the Sideshow map room, which is one of my very favorite things in the entire collection, with the Hot Toys Indy. And we've got a couple of more versions of Indy, Kermit and Mickey. Now, Safari Adventures. See the sale labeler? Safari Adventures. Here is the Lookout Tower. It's so tall, I had to stick it on a shelf all by itself. The Safari Adventure is a line that was done by Marks back in the 1970s. My line is complete, except I am missing a couple accessories for it's either the truck or the Jeep, I forget which. But have all of the figures. The elephant there did not come with all that cool soft goods on him. I bought that at a garage sale. Somebody had decorated that for their kids. And I thought that was just pretty amazing, the work they did. And here's the Jeep on this side. An extra elephant in back. Hot Toys. Another Sideshow base. A couple of skeletons. And around this side, we finish up the 6 scale Star Ace Harry Potter. Like I said, some of these teens, Harry's pretty good, but some of the teens are going to be pretty weak. Goblins are good. They did plenty of cool accessories like the desk and all the stuff that goes with it. And hiding back there is probably the worst of the worst. That would be the teen Hermione. On this side, we have some G.I. Joe. This is mine from when I was a kid. The Secret of the Mummy's Tomb. He's got the jewels and the tools, and the mummy is inside there. This is the update they did in the 90s to the left there. And there's another Mickey. Now, on the very bottom, remember I said you would see the rest of those Hasbro 4-inch figures? I have a complete carded and boxed set of those, including variations. There's a few back in the back there. This, like I said, was the second area I set up in the Institute. And so when I was setting these up, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with these, if I wanted them carded or loose, etc. And so I left them carded for the time being. However, I'm starting to think that I can go through, pick out the ones that are harder to get, and open those up, or not open those up, keep those carded, and then open the more common stuff up and set up some kind of a display here. Because there are a lot of really cool sets and vehicles with this line. And opening them up like that, and only keeping a few of them carded and boxed, would greatly enhance the amount of space I have on that shelf. Down here in front, we have some cars. You'll see more of that when we do the center. So that leaves one last tower. You still hanging in there? This tower starts out with stuff that doesn't have anything to do with adventure. It is the tins from some of the 112 Collective. I've stuck them up there because it's convenient, and I like them, but it is something that can go into storage when I need that space up there. Remember, those are 22-inch shelves, so they're excellent for big things. So you come down around this side, you're going to see a Batman thing. This is the 5 Points Batman Batcave playset from Mezco. Didn't really have room in the Batman section for it, but it fit perfectly up there, so it's right next door to, you know, it's Batman adjacent. Monty Python and the Flying and the Holy Grail, the Knight Who Says Ni. Remember, we've talked before about how you can complain that Sideshow doesn't do a line, but you'll see in a minute that, or doesn't do great. But when they do a line, they do the damn line. And we have some NECA quarter scale Pirates of the Caribbean and that fantastic Blackbeard from Sideshow. That's their quarter scale premium format Blackbeard. Now, as I was saying, when Sideshow does a line, they do a line. We got two versions, muddy and clean, of all the knights. And a whole bunch of the other main characters. I wish we would get depth like this from other companies. Of course, if you're going to charge $500 a figure, that's not really going to work. Now, you're going to see some Game of Thrones. That's another adventure-themed line that you'll see with some regularity over here. These are the ones from Funko. And McFarlane did a couple too, but those are mostly the ones from Funko in the 6-inch scale. Ray Harryhausen, Star Ace and X Plus, has done and continues to do a lot of really cool versions of his stop motion characters. And there's a whole bunch of them there. There's Xena at the end. Now we're going to come down here and look at some more pirates. Hot Toys had done 10 pirates originally in their Pirates of the Caribbean line. They're all here. I did not order the new Jack. I missed out on the Artisan. I might have ordered the Artisan just to be complete, but you know what? I don't really need him. So I don't feel bad. Skeksis. Sideshow also did Jen and Kira. And that's another Blackbeard. Yeah, Labyrinth, but I'm trying to think. Jen? Come to me in a minute. As we come around here is another underappreciated line. This is 3-Zero's Game of Thrones line, 6 scale. We were supposed to get a number of other figures in this series. They had announced a number of other figures. Unfortunately, it looks like, you know, we're not getting them, at least that we can tell. Because after the announcement, we never actually saw any kind of prototypes. And there's been a company or two that's done some knockoffs. You'll see some of those. Well, not knockoffs, but unlicensed characters. And you see a couple of those mixed in there as well. 2 versions of the Hound. And we got some space over here. So as you can see, I'm really hoping we get a few more of those Game of Thrones figures. Now, lots of companies did Pirates of the Caribbean in a 6 to 7-inch scale. NECA Jacks are 2 examples. There was also Zizzle did some. That's what we have here is a whole bunch of Pirates of the Caribbean, different movies. These are all sort of that 7-inch scale. Some more of them as we come around this side. The 12-inch versions are Zizzle. There's a Disney version in back. Disney Store had their own releases. So there was plenty of them. That Goonies figure there, that's, and because he's in the pirate costume, I thought he fit well nicely over here in the adventure section. Goonies is adventure. That's a Mezco. And then we finish up with some small pirates and Zizzle figures, other characters from adventure shows like the Rocketeer. Now, Harry Potter finishes off over here. This line, I don't know if I'm complete or not. One of these days I'll start checking into it. This was by Popco, which is also called Character Options at one point. This was a UK release. These are 4-inch figures. I do have all but one of the playsets. I know that. See down on this shelf below, there's 2 of the playsets in back. There's a 3rd playset I'm still keeping my eye out for. And then here's some of the loose figures in front. Getting these was a little tricky at the time. I had to have friends in the UK help me out. I actually made a trip or 2 to the UK during that period for work, which helped quite a bit. Another company to work on the Harry Potter license was Mattel, and the Four Horsemen lent a lot of their skills and qualities to that line. You can see some of the nice work on the troll there. It's a great figure, especially for a kid's line. We got some box playsets in the back. And they actually thought about doing more realistic versions. I mean, they did have the Four Horsemen working for them. And for example, this is what the normal Hermione looked like, kind of cartoony. But they did do one Hermione like this, testing out this idea of doing a more realistic portraits. However, she's the only one they ended up doing. They killed that idea. So there you go. There's what we have around the second tower. So that's it for the green section. Hopefully you were able to make it through all 20 minutes of that. On Friday, I will be doing another acquisition report, and I hope you're having a great collecting weekend. Until then, make sure you subscribe, and have a good one.